fund your next passion project? It did for today's guest. In today's episode, Upscale Dave shares how a car accident funded his first fashion brand. He also shares how his family's group chat supports his daily mental health. Get ready to have your cup poured into.
I mean, that's all you really can do with the way life is.
Exactly.
So I'm so happy to have you on the podcast. Like I said, Ashley, who's like, I guess a mutual of both of ours, she referred me to you. And when
that's actually my family.
Oh, she is. Oh, she did say you were her cousin. Dang.
Yeah.
So wait,
I have a lot of family.
Are you guys all like? She's also related to Markel too.
No, she's related through marriage. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Her big sister was married to my uncle.
Copy. Okay, now that makes sense. Okay, that's
and
how Ashley does.
Her nieces and nephews are my cousins. Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense because obviously they're still connected because of the whole. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, then. Well, it is still nice to have you on the podcast today. Like I told you before we started, it was very refreshing and interesting to learn more about your story. And just really connect. I'm excited to get into the podcast because I'm excited to hear more about what you're working on and really just share that with other people.
Thank you. I'm excited to just share everything with you as well.
Okay, sorry. My cat, I think, is playing with the door, so yeah, he like chills out. So to get started, where did you grow up? To get started, let's just get into like where you grew up, like who you are as a person. So first off, where did you grow up? What school did you go to? And just let's set the foundation.
I was born in Miami, but I grew up between Miami and New Rochelle. I grew up specific part of Miami called North Miami Beach, and New Rochelle is like literally like 2 minutes away from the Bronx. It's like a suburb in New York City in Westchester County. So those are the two places I grew up in. High schools, you want me to start from elementary or?
Oh no, we don't have to go that far back. You could just name your high school. So I think that's already enough there.
All right, yeah. High schools, I went to New Rochelle High, which is also in New Rochelle, and I went to Michael Crop. I went to American High School. I graduated from American High School. So okay. Yeah, those are the high schools I went to.
Okay, so I'm definitely familiar with NMB. So for those who don't know, in Miami, North Miami Beach can also be like referred to as NMB. I'm definitely familiar with NMB, but like, what was the differences growing up in NMB versus New Rochelle?
Oh, it's a huge difference. It's like night and day. Like New Rochelle is definitely, it's like the baby Bronx. That's what people call it. So it was very gully. Style's different. The way people talk is different. The way people dress is different. Everything is just completely different over there. The food, the culture, and people grow up faster in New York as well. So that's where like most of my upbringing came from, just from being surrounded by that. So every time like my Miami family members and friends, like they looked at me like I was different just because like I was more advanced than they were. In Miami is more slower, more chill, and that's another side of me that people also admire because I'm like both sides. Like if you don't know me, you'll think I'm very chill, I'm very relaxed. But if you do know me, you'll think I'm wild or this type of party animal or someone that's just very outgoing. So that's why I like to describe myself as someone that's just like have multiple personalities and I owe that to Miami and New York. So the upbringing in both cities were very different. And I'm proud to say I'm from both sides because I learned a lot from Miami as far as how to like be very observant of others. Because people in Miami, they're not too friendly because they got to know you first and watch who you are and what type of vibe you bring. In New York, people are outgoing. People like they know how to network, they know how to get around, they know how to hustle and bustle, and that's me as well. So I appreciate both sides.
And were you like, I know you went to like 3 different high schools. Were you in New York for like maybe a year or two, and then you came to Miami for like the last 2 or something?
No, actually a few months only.
Oh, really? Yeah. Oh, wow.
Yeah, only a few months, and then my mom sent me back. And that's when I was in Crop for 9th and 10th. And I was in American for 11th and 12th.
Okay, that makes sense now. So, Yeah, even though I'm not from New York, I've been here now going on 5 years. I definitely agree with you. New York people are definitely more advanced. And I feel like that's partly because since kids have to like walk themselves to school or like they take the
Yeah,
subway, they have to kind of grow up to kind of like watch their surroundings more. Would you
right,
agree? Yeah, okay.
definitely. Because
Go
I've
ahead.
been coming, like literally, my mom was sending me here, me and my siblings here since I was, I want to say, between 6 or 7. So me and my cousins, we would be outside taking the subways, going downtown to the city at that age, or going to like team parties when I was in middle school. Just doing things that we were not supposed to be doing that older kids were doing. So I'll definitely in Miami it was total opposite. Like in Miami during the summer, kids are not outside. Kids are definitely inside. So I'll say that's another reason why I say it was very advanced in the like night and day, like compared growing up in New York and Miami, because in Miami I can't like remember to this day like when I go back I do not see kids outside at all, but in New York like that's all you see, people outside. So
No, very
yeah,
very true. I have this well, okay. I can't really attest to it because I had more of like a sheltered upbringing in the sense that, like my parents didn't let
mm,
me out like that. At least my mom didn't. I did have friends who I felt like it was half they snuck out and then half their parents were okay with them going out. And they would be like maybe at teen parties and stuff, but that was when we got to like high school, I felt like. I think.
mm,
But you are correct in the sense that like I always joke with my friends every morning I wake up, which I know school is out now for New York City kids, I think. But every morning I wake up and the kids are like outside, like in
making a
front of
lot
the
of
corner.
noise, right?
Yes. And it's kind of like my alarm clock where I'm like, okay, if they outside and I'm not up yet, then that means like I'm behind. But it's also kind of like entertaining just to hear their conversations and just like, like whatever they're doing. So I do get what you're saying because New York City kids don't want to be cooped up because you're in like
Right,
these smallish apartments. So you're like,
right.
okay, I'm not trying to sit in the house all day. Let's go. Like, let's get out and do something. Even if
Hmm.
they, running up the streets or in the park, they're still trying to get out or whatever.
Right. That makes a lot of sense. I never thought of it that way because
No,
they're in
yeah.
the
I
small
mean,
apartments. Yeah.
yeah. And then I think in Miami, you're right in the sense that kids aren't outside in the summer. I think at least for me, I went to a lot of summer camps. So
Hmm.
I was always like on the bus going from like my house to this summer camp or my house to
Hmm.
school or my house to there. It's like I wasn't like walking the streets because that's seen as like what's wrong with that person? Why are they walking the streets?
Right.
So it's differences. But one thing I did want to touch on, you said like in from when you went to New York show or even just living in New York to Miami, the style is different. So how would you describe like the differences of style between New York and Miami?
The style in New York is definitely is like ghetto chic. That's the best way I could describe it. Ghetto fabulous. They definitely mix like the high end and make it look very urban. In Miami, I want to say people not really that fashion forward. Not to say that they don't have style, because everywhere you go, everyone have a sense of style, regardless of if you like it or not. But in Miami, it's more so it's laid back. Like they'll throw on a white tee or a Dickie outfit or some like if you see how someone in New York wear a pair of Air Forces, it's not the same as how someone in Miami wear a pair of Air Forces. Someone in Miami might wear, like I just said, with a Dickie outfit, but someone in New York might wear it with a jersey or some designers or a high end streetwear brand. So that's how I would say the styles are very different, just by the way people style their outfits.
Would you say that like Miami people are maybe a little bit more safer with their style?
Yeah, because also another thing I want to touch on is there's not really much down there for people to like find inspiration from as far as styles go. Like in New York, you go to Fifth Ave, you go to Soho, you go like even in the mom and pops in every borough, you can find something that's very fashion forward. Miami, you don't really much have that. You just have the malls. in the outlets.
Yeah, no, I agree. I get where you're going with it because I feel like in high school in Miami, I feel like so my high school started off where we had like just a polo and then we could do whatever. But then
Yeah.
over time we eventually got a uniform, but I still felt like kids would express themselves, but it
Hmm.
was like a controlled expression because you
Right.
could like express yourself with like sneakers and then your accessories. But
Hmm.
then when it came to your outfit, you still had to stick with like for my high school we had like academy shirts. So we had like the same color we had to wear for 4 years. We could get away with like wearing a different shirt, but you couldn't do it. It was a complicated structure. If your academy was somebody where they would like get upset if you weren't wearing the academy. I do agree and like understand where you're coming from, like, or I do at least respect your opinion of like the differences between New York and Miami. So I think like what was it for you that like made you like really get into your style and fashion?
Honestly, my parents been dressing me ever since I was a kid. I didn't dress the first time I started dressing myself was, I want to say, 10th or 11th grade. So like I said, my first love actually was basketball. That was my first love. That's all I cared about. Basketball and sneakers. Like I really didn't care about what clothes I was wearing. I just knew like my parents would say, wear this. I'm like, okay, I'll wear it. But every time they would dress me, people would love what I was wearing. People were like, ooh, that's nice. Like, you know how to dress. And I really didn't think nothing much of it because all I cared about was playing basketball and all I cared about was making sure my sneakers look good and my sneakers match whatever my parents picked for me to wear. So it was probably to the ninth, like late ninth grade when I got cut from the basketball team, and on top of that, like the AAU team I was playing for, the coach he decided not to continue with it the following year. So I was like, oh man, I gotta try out for a new AAU team. I don't know if the coach don't like me. And I was like, you know what? Let me just like give basketball a break. If it comes back, it comes back. So the following year, going into 10th grade, no, going into 10th grade, I went to New York like for the summer, as every summer, and I was playing basketball for Remington Boys and Girls Club in New Rochelle, and that's when I noticed that I didn't really love basketball as much as I did anymore because it just wasn't the same. I'm like, okay, like I don't know if I'm gonna play basketball in high school again, and even though like I'm decent, let's be real. How many people actually make it to the NBA? I have a better chance of probably becoming a rapper or something. So I was like, let me just give basketball a break. And that's when when I went into 10th grade, first day of school, everybody complimented me. I'm like, okay, my parents picked this out for me, and people laughed at me, and it was like, you a liar. Nobody like you picked that out yourself. And I'm like, no, I'm dead serious. My parents dressed me. Like I really don't be knowing what to wear. Nothing. All I care about is shoes. Like that's the only thing I would ever ask my parents for is shoes. And that's when like the year kept going on, and I see people always complimenting me what I'm wearing. So one of my best friends in high school, I was like probably 14 years old at the time, or 15. I told them we should like come out with a clothing brand. So we start sketching and everything. It was supposed to be our both of our last names put together, Jean Finley, because his last name is Finley. And I presented the idea to my mom, and she was like, "You don't know nothing about a clothing brand, so like focus on school, focus on your education." And that's when I was like, "Oh man, she just shooting down my dreams." But I still didn't like throw it away or anything. So a few months after, she saw that I was serious with the sketching. What she did was she bought me a book by Damon Johns, who's one of the co-founders of Fubu. I read that book from front to back within like a month, and she saw I was serious, but she still didn't like give me no money so I could start the brand. So that kind of like faded away, and that's when the following what is called fourth quarter. That's what it's called in high school or
I think
semester.
yeah. Wait, what is it? Oh my god, you're dating me. I don't because college is semesters, but college can also have quarters. I think it's quarters because it was 4 quarters, right?
Yeah,
I think it's
but
fourth. Yeah, I think it's
I know
quarter.
like yeah, so it probably was fourth quarter. So fourth quarter, I took an elective. That's when it was for what's the name of that class? It's not graphics. It's more so like a screen print design class. I took that class, and during that class, all I was doing was making t-shirts, designing t-shirts, screen printing them, handing them out to all my friends. They're like, "This is, can I curse or no?"
Yeah, yeah, you can curse.
They were like, "This shit is hard." Like, they wanted to wear it. They kept asking me to print them more things. I'm like, okay, so I got something. It was some crazy, like it was nothing. It was honestly, I look back at it the other day, I was like, this was nothing crazy at all. The name of the brand was called Eagle Money. I don't know what made me come up with that. It was just something very random. So that didn't last long at all. That went on only for that fourth quarter. And going to 11th grade, I went to American. So American, it was similar to your high school situation. We had to wear the color uniform top, but we could wear jeans and sneakers. But when it came to that, like I made sure like I was not looking like everyone else because this is when I really start taking fashion serious on my own. Because now I wanted to dress myself, so I would this at the time polo, and I don't know if you because they didn't really have this down in Miami at the time, but Ralph Lauren had a subsidiary brand called Rugby. I would go to New York and get all the rugby that I can and come back just so no one won't dress like me. So I would wear all the rugby as uniform tops. I would wear the polo with the big horses as my uniform top. That was actually like prohibited. I was not able to do that. So I used to get written up like once a week at least just because I wanted to look fly in high school. So that's when I really started taking fashion serious.
Wait, you couldn't wear rugby tops or?
No, the type of rugbies that I was wearing because it had like the big designs and everything, like the
Oh, that makes
logos.
sense.
Yeah,
Yeah, that makes sense.
it was the school color, but it was not a plain like a regular plain polo rugby.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, you
It
were
was
trying to do too much, trying to do the
yeah.
most. I get it. So then what happened your senior year? Did you, well, I guess what happened your senior year leading into college? Did you continue and decide, okay, now that I'm entering college, let me focus on fashion, or did you take a different route?
Actually, I went into college not knowing what I wanted to do, and my mom and my dad was like, "Just study to be an engineer," because I knew I loved sports. So I was like, people don't really make it in sports casting. Like that's like a one. Like everything that I loved, I was like, okay, this is like a one in a million. Like, let me be realistic because the real world's about to hit. This is real life now. I'm not in high school no more, so I can't just fool around. Like I really need some real goals and ambition. I can't be dreaming anymore. So my parents was like, just do engineering. Like that's a guarantee high 5-figure job straight out of college. Not 5 figure, yeah, 5-figure job straight out of college. So I was like, okay. So I studied engineering at Florida for probably like 2 years. I did an internship and I was like, oh no, this is not for me. This is not for me. So I changed my major like right when I came back that summer from doing the internship. I'm like, I'm not being an engineer. I called my mom and dad. I said, this is funny. I actually called them. I was like, would you guys be mad at me if I was to change my major? And they was like, no, but what are you going to change it to? And I said, I have no clue, but I can't be an engineer. This is not for me. It's too hard. Like, I don't enjoy it. I really don't care about the money. Like, I want to do something that I enjoy doing. So when I came back from that internship, I changed my major to finance and accounting. That I was like, okay, this is more realistic. This is something that I might enjoy. It's not that hard. It's just regular finance math. I love money, so it kind of makes sense. But while I was doing that major, that's when some random spark just came in my head that semester about like creating my own clothing line, and that's when I came up with my first. This is my first clothing line. I wouldn't even count the high school one. This one was called Upscale General. I got the name Upscale General because one of my friends in college, he would call me Upscale just because I would like wear designer clothes in college. So he Upscale. So I was like, okay, let me flip that and make it into a brand. So I was like Upscale General. And the money that I got from that was not from my parents. It was actually from a car accident settlement that I got because while I was in college, a car actually hit me from the back in Gainesville. You went to Florida, right?
Yeah. Wait. You went to UF, right?
Yeah, correct,
Oh my
correct.
God.
Yeah,
What?
yeah. So a car hit me from the back, but I forgot the roads over there. I haven't been there in like 10 years.
Was it on University or Archer? Like where
Archer,
you did
Archer, yes,
Archer? Okay.
Archer,
Okay.
Archer. It hit me right in Archer, and they was actually in fault because I was at the red light, and so I got a nice little settlement from that. And I want to say I took 4,000 from that check and just cashed out on inventory. Like I still remember it was one random day, like three big boxes came to my student housing, and my roommates was like, "What the hell you doing? You moving drugs?" Because they were like, "Where are all these boxes coming from?" I was like, "I'm starting a clothing line," and they were my first supporters. And after that, that's when a lot of my friends started wearing it, and that's when I knew a few athletes, so they were wearing it. And my friends from back home in New York and Miami was supporting it, and that was doing very well for like a good. They had a good 3 year run, and after that, that's when I just dismantled it because everything was just being repetitive, and I was like, okay, I'm not really getting much with this brand. It's just a small streetwear brand, nothing but t-shirts, and I don't want to stay in that lane. I want to expand and do other things. So I took, I want to say, a 2 year or year and probably wasn't 2 years, probably like a year and a half hiatus. I'm just skipping a whole bunch. I'm sorry. After I left Florida in 2015, I worked a corporate job for like an finance accounting. I worked a bunch of corporate jobs, finance accounting, and I hated it. It was like I was switching jobs like underwear. This at this time I was down in Miami working these jobs, just hating like struggling, hating life. Like I'm like now I see why people say like college is not for everyone. So I was doing that, and I was like, yeah, I got to get back to what I love to do. So I actually quit. I quit my job for like 2 months. I want to say I was unemployed, and my dad was like, "What you gonna do?" Like my parents, I love them dearly because they never pressured me to do anything that I didn't want to do. They always supported anything that I ever wanted to do. So when my dad one day approached me, like, "What you gonna do?" It wasn't more so like he was pressuring me, but it was more so like motivated me and encouraged me to chase my dreams because I said I want to do what I love, and he was like, "What is that? Like, what do you love?" I said, I love making clothes, I love sneakers," and he was like, "You got to pursue your dreams." And so what I did was go ahead and enroll at LIM. It's a fashion school out here in New York, and my parents was 100% supportive. If you know Caribbean parents, all they want you to do is be doctor, lawyer, or engineer. And my parents on the other side, they just wanted me to be happy, wanted me to live my dreams. So after I enrolled in LIM, I enrolled for the fashion management and marketing program. So I did that for a few years, and I graduated with my second bachelor's from there as a fashion business management major. And while I was at LIM, I was also interning for the Webster. The Webster. Are you familiar with the Webster?
No, but I did read that, like researching. Well, that's kind of creepy. I'm going to take that part out. No, I'm not
Oh,
familiar with Webster. You were a data analyst there, I saw.
yeah,
I
yeah,
was like,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. I started off as an intern, and they loved me so much they just went ahead and decided while I was still a student, they went ahead and decided to enroll me full time, hire me full time as a full time employee while I was a student. So there, I learned a lot of experience from like the background of fashion, and that's what really sparked me to come out with my revamped version of Upscale General, which I decided to name House of Cite Sole, because I was learning more so about the back end of the business, which people don't really know about. People just think coming out with a clothing line is you designing, and there's way more to that. So when I came out with House of Cite Sole, the name derived from one day me watching. There was a documentary by Wyclef. It's called The Ghost of Cite Sole. And Cite Sole is, for people that's listening that don't know what Cite Sole is, it's an impoverished city in Port-au-Prince area in Haiti. And The Ghost of Cite Sole the documentary was basically about that. And I wanted to, but it also showed a lot of negative. But I wanted to take that negative and make it to a positive. And I just didn't want to have a regular fashion brand. What I wanted to do was to give back with my fashion brand and tell stories through my design. So what I did with that was flipped everything and named it House of Cite Sole. And I just started coming out with designs that was inspired by like stylish Black people, Black individuals. If you could see like my first collection, it was a logo of a phoenix bird that was on the first Haitian flag, one of the first Haitian flags. And I want to say which collection was that? Probably my second collection. I had based it off the Harlem Hellfighters because there was a lot of Haitians that fought with the Harlem Hellfighters. So I wanted to shine light on that and tell that story as well. My third collection was a collaboration with the Haitian national basketball team. That probably was the first time I started seeing good money from House Cite Sole because that collection actually did well. What was the fourth? The fourth collection, that's when everything really started taking off for me. This was the Style on Time collection because at the time, the Style on Time collection actually, the name came from an app that me and a few of my childhood friends are actually gearing up to launch in the next few months. Let me not give no dates, but soon. But we've been working on that app since 2020. So yeah, 2020. So that collection, Style on Time, that came out during the pandemic. And around this time, that's when everyone was just searching for Black owned brands to support. So I want to credit that. I want to credit the pandemic for that being one of the reasons why that collection did so well. And not just struck while the iron was hot after that collection dropped. Probably like a few weeks later, I dropped just one single drop of a Basquiat t-shirt. That sold out less than a week. I said, okay, let me strike again while the iron hot. So I want to say November of 2020, I dropped the Pearl of the Caribbean, this is what people really know the brand for. This is the Pearl of the Caribbean. This is a design that I drew of Muhammad Ali and Arthur Ashe because they did a lot for the Haitian community. So that sweater did very well, and that caught the attention of Black Fashion Fair, their owner Antoine Bibby. Are you familiar with Black Fashion Fair?
Yes, I am.
Yeah, they're based out here in New York too. Yeah, that caught the attention of Antoine Bibby, and he wanted to work with me because he's Haitian descent as well. So what we did was we recreated everything, but with better quality, better material, and we added a few more pieces. That collection was actually supposed to drop drop February 2021 for Black History Month, but my father got sick during the time, and then he ended up passing away. So I just took a few months off, and that collection ended up dropping later than it was supposed to. But I want to say it did crazy numbers. Like within the first hour, one of the shirts sold out. It was the pink one. And the first we came out with bracelets too. That sold out on the first day. The and everything else sold out during the week, but it did so well that we relaunched the black crew neck again, just so people that didn't get a chance to get it, they were able to get it again. And that's actually one of my staple pieces. That's one piece that I'm gonna always keep on the brand site, just so people could always get a chance to purchase it and they could understand the story behind it as well. So that's my entire fashion journey as far as me being someone that didn't really care about clothes to now me creating clothes.
Okay, so you said a lot. I've been sitting here taking notes, and like I told you, I did do research, so like I think everything just makes sense as far as like timeline wise. I want to go back a little bit. So you said something that really stuck with me. I don't think we clarified this at the beginning, but I just want to make sure you are Haitian American, right?
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely.
and if I'm not mistaken, you're first generation Haitian American.
Second.
Second, okay, second
Yeah.
generation. So that kind of does make sense why I think your parents were a little bit more lenient than other Caribbean parents, because that really stuck with me. Because I feel like, especially growing up in Miami, especially growing up in an area like NMB, where that's like a very Haitian dominated area,
Right.
um, and growing up with so many Haitians, you know that it's you touched on this yourself. It's harder to go to school and try and like find out what you want to do, because your parents are going to be like, well, what's going to make you money? And you're like, I want to do what makes me happy. So
Right.
it's that like tussle between what do I do? And then I'm glad you touched on the internship part, because I think it's hard to really know if what you're doing is the right thing until you get that real world experience. Then you can really
Definitely.
understand, okay, is this really what I want to be doing for the rest of my life, or at least for the near future? So you started your upscale general. You stopped it obviously because, like you said, the t-shirts were beginning to get repetitive. How was that process for you, like deciding, okay, this is the time to end it, and for me to like start something new? Because I feel like sometimes people want to hold on to something because they feel like, I don't know if people are going to judge me because I ended this, or
You're 100
like.
percent right. I feel like my thing is everything has an expiration date. Not more so as like you just got to put an entire stop to it, but you always gonna have to rebrand with this, whether it's with yourself, your personal your personal image. What else? Like your brand, even your Instagram page. Like you always gonna have to like archive the old photos and start all over again, or a website. So I feel like everything has an expiration date, and you have to know when it's time to grow. Same with like, let's say I have a business and I'm running it by myself for a good 5 years, and it just reached that ceiling. In order for it to grow, I got to bring in more people. I got to hire a marketing assistant. I got to hire a graphic designer. I got to hire what else? Operations manager. Because if I'll continue doing everything by myself, it's definitely not going to grow. It's going to stay stagnant. And that's actually where I'm at right now with the brand. I felt like it had a successful run with my inline collections. Like, so now I'm at the point, okay, I don't want to just stay that way forever. So right now, you getting first dibs with this. Right now, I'm actually in the middle of revamping it because I'm gonna start hosting third party brands on the site. So you won't only be able to purchase my brand from House de Soli, but you'll be able to purchase other third party brands and a few sneaker brands that I got to count with as well. So it's always got to be like 10 steps ahead of the game. And obviously from that, God willing, let's say everything goes well with that, I get to open a brick and mortar and people could come in. So that's always been like my way of thinking since very young. Okay, what's the next step after I do this? Because I can't do it like this forever.
I love that. I love that way of thinking. I wish my thinking was more so like that. I think personally sometimes I struggle, or I see other people struggle, where it's like, I don't want to take a step back, especially with something like a clothing brand, because I don't want people to forget about me.
Right.
What is your process with, like, use my language, but fuck what people think. I'm gonna do what like suits for me, because I know that, okay, there's like this quote that goes around where people say measure twice, so you only have to cut once. And I think sometimes people like face a burnout and like trying to keep up with the Joneses, in the sense of like, okay, I dropped this and I have to drop that. I have to do this. Like, I have to keep up so people don't, like, lose engagement in me, like lose interest in me. What is it for you that goes, okay, I can either keep doing this, but will it be of quality, versus me like taking a step back to make sure, like you said, I can hire the marketing team, I can hire the operations person, I can hire all these things I need to really like make this be something that's legendary.
I want to give credit to my parents because I feel like they instilled that in me to always think for myself and not to be like others. And I also want to give credit to my mentors. I have great mentors because every like with everything I do, they always dropping gems on me, whether it's I'm doing a good job or whether I'm not doing a good job, and giving me constructive criticism and letting me know that I should go this path instead of the path I'm going. And I also want to credit my friends as well, because I have a great village around me, like community. I feel like in order to grow, you have to like be inspired by your friends. And if I see my friends are doing well in one area, it makes me want to do well in my area, in my field as well. Okay, my friend is launching this. Let me go ahead and launch that too, and let me take it like let me turn it up a notch, because we all got to grow together. And I have a few friends in the fashion industry, and I not to say this like demoting myself or anything, but they're doing far better than I am when it comes to their brands. And that inspires me. Like that keeps me motivated. That pushes me every day. And another thing, you can't be a hater. You can't look at everyone else and say, oh, they got this, and be envious. You have to have a good heart, because your blessing's going to come as well. And I feel like that's another thing. If you have hate and jealousy in your heart, it's going to be very hard for you to advance anything you do. And with me, all my friends, they can attest to it. I'm like that number one cheerleader. Like I wear my friends' brands like it's my brand. Like even if you could like, if you like look at my pictures, like I mostly post myself wearing my friend's brand, or if I'm out and about, I wear my friend's brand more than I wear my brand, just because I'm that supportive, and I always pay homage and give credit when credit is due. So those are definitely my top inspirations: my parents, my mentors, and my friends.
So I think that was so beautiful. It really does sound like you have a really strong foundation. Never like lose sight of that. Which I don't think you will. So
Thank you.
you went on to say that you started the brand. Okay, I want to say it right. You said House of
Cite Soleil.
Cite Soleil. House of Cite Soleil. One thing I want to say I loved when I was researching it, or researching you and learning more about the brand, is that you really had like a meaningful aspect around it. One of my favorite designers, Hanifa, she has her brand Hanifa. And
Yeah, I'm aware.
yeah, because she was also, I think, featured for Black Fashion Fair, if I'm not
Yeah,
mistaken.
she was. Yeah.
Yes, and I know she did something. Oh, I don't want to butcher it. She like did proceeds for Congo, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, it was.
Yes, and I immediately thought of that when I saw the post, like what you did with your brand to give back to the community. You were able to drop. Yes, what was that experience like, being able to partner with someone who I see as like really legendary? What was your thought process? Because I'm sure you were probably like, I don't want to speak for you. I want to say you were fanboying, like, oh my God, this is like someone I look up to. But then, you also want to keep it professional. How was that experience for you?
It was actually good. It was very professional. He's very hands on as well. Like throughout the entire design process, and he let me create. He did not intervene or anything. Like he'll probably have like a few say, so you, like, maybe you should take this out because you don't need that. Your brand is strong enough without it. But as far as my whole creative process, he just let me cook. He had no negative feedbacks, and don't I say the only thing he took over control of was more so of like the whole marketing aspect. And I have to give credit to Anaya as well, who's the publicist, because she did amazing with helping with the outreach for that, and their partner Nubian, who's a Black Fashion Fair partner. So it was a very great experience. We did the entire collection. Probably took us 4 to 5 months to create. So I would like to say, like, I was thankful. Not more so fanboying, but I was very thankful for the opportunity.
Yeah, you're talking about Naya Gold from A Gold.
Yeah.
Yes, I love her. I love her stuff. So before we transition the questions a little bit, you did touch on your next project, which you're kind of working on, Style on Time. I know you don't want to give too much away because things are still in the works, but what can people expect from it? When do you hope to have a release? Like maybe end of the year? Or do you think it's just something that's going to be like down the line in the future?
I don't want to give a date, but I can definitely say soon. The only reason I don't want to give a date is because this been in the works since 2020, and we actually did do a soft launch in 2021, but due to my father passing, we had to put everything to stop. So now we're revamping because everything that we did launch during that time on the App Store was outdated. So now we doing a whole design, interface design, redesign, adding more stores to the app, because basically what the app is, it's a last mile delivery app, a fashion last mile delivery app. Think of Uber Eats but for fashion. You'll be able to order, let's say, from your favorite local fashion boutique, and you could get your product that you ordered within 1 to 3 business hours. One to 3 business hours doing the time like the businesses are operating. So that's what Style on Time is in a whole.
And I'm not a stylist, but someone who has worked fashion PR. I'm sure for stylists who maybe on like photo shoot sets or things like that, or maybe they have a client who is getting ready to go to a brunch or something like that where they need to like present an award or they need to attend something. It would be very convenient if like another look they're waiting for didn't come through, or even just someone like me who is heading out to like a night out and I want to get something from like you said, one of my favorite brands. It sounds like it'll be very convenient for things like that.
Yes, definitely. The plan is we have a few stylists that's on board, and the plan is to work with as many stylists as possible. Because I feel like this app will be a stylist's best friend. That's the goal that we're aiming for this app to be the stylist, every stylist in America's best friend.
That's exactly what it sounded like when I was doing research on it. I'm like, this sounds like something that if I was a stylist, I would love, because then I wouldn't have to leave. It would literally just be me waiting for the clothes to just come.
Exactly.
From all of your business ventures, from Upscale General to House of Cite Soleil, did I say that
Yeah,
right?
you
Okay.
said it correct.
What inspired Style on Time? Because I feel like this is a somewhat of like a 180 from the other ones. And it's very more so in my eyes, more technical, I guess, in a way.
Yeah, very tech driven.
Yeah. What inspired this?
It was honestly me and my childhood friends. We came up with the idea. It was on my birthday, 2019. We all just went out to dinner, and we were just looking at, I forgot who were we looking. Chameleonaire. It was Chameleonaire, the rapper. We was like, oh man, this man don't even rap no more. He out here getting that tech money. We was like, yeah, we need to do the same thing. And we just started dishing out a bunch of ideas. And it was like, nah, because that's not organic. That's not what we like. We just chasing the money at this point. We got to chase the money and do something that we passionate about. And all my friends, they like getting fly too. So we was like, how about we do something where we can, where consumers could shop on our app and get their outfit delivered to them within 1 to 3 business hours, like Uber Eats. It was like bingo, that's it. And we came up with a name probably, I want to say, like less than a month. And right after we came up with the name, that's when we went to get the, what is it called? Ah, it's not, I'm going to just say demo, but it's a specific tech name that they use. But we went ahead and got that built out. And after that process, we went ahead and started building the whole app itself. And that took a while. That took like 5 months. And then we went ahead and did the soft launch. And obviously, like I said, my father passed, so that stopped. But now we're back at it again. And very soon, that's all I can say. But no, I'm not giving any dates. But if you guys want to follow the page, styleontime.app, you guys will see a release date when we do come up with one.
Yeah, I will definitely add in the show notes the social media handles to everything for Style on Time and all your social handles. Switching gears a little bit and really just tapping into the mental health side of things. You have done a lot when it comes to like the fashion side. You've created lines. You also were creating lines through the pandemic. And then you and your friends are taking a step back to make sure that your next project, Style on Time, is really just going out in the best way possible. How do you, and I feel like you kind of touched on this, but let's go a little bit deeper. How do you manage your mental health during these times?
Honestly, it might sound cliche, but I pray a lot. That's like the most simple answer I get. I pray a lot. Like when I'm overwhelmed with stress, I'm like, all right, let me take a break. I open the Bible or get on my knees or just sit in silence and just meditate. So that's what I do a lot. I just talk to God a lot. And I want to say in times when I'm just very overwhelmed, I just let things be. That's just my mentality. That's just always, that's a mentality that I got to give credit to Miami for. Because I feel like that's a Miami way to handle things. Just let things be. Just be chill and relax.
See, I feel like the way you describe Miami, when people say oh, Miami isn't a part of the South, I think this just proves Miami in some ways does have that Southern feel in the sense where it's just slow down and just go with the flow.
Definitely.
Yeah. I try and tell people every time I come, if I'm going on a plane to Miami, I'm calm. I'm okay, everything's gonna be fine. But then as soon as I get on a plane back to New York, I'm okay, time to get back to the hustle. Time to get yeah, it's time to get go, go, go. So yeah. So you said you were second generation Haitian or Haitian American. How is mental health or self-care talked about in the Haitian culture, especially as a male?
I'm gonna be honest, it was taboo growing up, especially because I come from a household that just say give all your problems to God. But now I want to say it's talked about more. It's been talked about more since my father passed. Because that's when reality set in for all of us. It's okay, mental health is real. So since that, we've been taking a lot of therapy. So what else? We've been taking a lot of therapy. We've been talking to each other more, and not just asking how you doing, but really checking in on each other. How are you doing? How are you feeling right now? What are you thinking? What's your thoughts on this? Dive deeper into questions and really want to see how people feeling eternally and emotionally rather than just surface levels conversations. So to answer your question, it was very taboo at the beginning, but now it's not shied upon anymore. We talk about it a lot. I actually have a group text with me, my mom, and my sister every morning. We just check in on each other, mental health, check in just to see how we're doing, making sure we're okay mentally, making sure we're not overthinking any situations, making sure we're not depressed or anything. And if we are, we sit we're here, we talk to each other. Or if we are, we sit here, sing each other a Bible verse, or we tell each other, check in with your therapist. So that's how we handle mental health as of today, me and my family.
That's really beautiful. Now you like inspired me to change the way me and my mom and sister have like our morning group text. I'm definitely gonna change that tomorrow morning. A little bit. I don't know if I shared this with you, but this episode will be released like around Fashion Week. I'm doing like a series around Fashion Week and mental health.
Okay.
Someone who has like you've worked Fashion Week before, right?
I never worked Fashion Week, but I've been a few fashion shows because one of my best friend, his father came out with a collection with Andy Hilfiger.
Okay.
So I've been to that, and one of my mentor, plenty of people probably know who she is, Lisa Hilton.
Okay.
That's one of my mentor. So I've been to fashion shows with her. I've been to fashion shows, but I never worked fashion.
Okay.
Like fashion.
That's fine. Even though you haven't worked fashion shows, you have, like you said, attended fashion shows. I'm sure you've seen like your friends, like you said, your friend's dad, and you know other designers who have shown. Fashion Week can be a lot. It can be crazy. It's literally like sleep or die, I feel like, for some people.
Yeah.
What is your advice to anyone who may be a designer who is showing during Fashion Week, or even just someone attending Fashion Week who feels like they have to go to every show? Because like over the years, New York Fashion Week used to be at one central location, but now everything's spread out. What is your advice to new designers or OG designers or anyone who may be attending Fashion Week to make sure that they're balancing their mental health and taking care of themselves during this time?
To answer your first question, with some advice to anyone that's attending Fashion Week or a part of Fashion Week, definitely use that opportunity to network. Because I met a lot of people out and about during when it's not famous. That doesn't mean they're the right people that you can have in your circle. Because I've met plenty of people that I want to say are great resources in my life right now just from networking. So definitely use that opportunity to just network, get to know people, and talk to people. They don't bite. And as far as mental health go, I want to say Fashion Week can get crazy, and I'm not a mental health guru or anything, but definitely just make sure you have a team around you, because a team could take you a long way, and it can help relieve a lot of stress so you don't have to do everything on your own. You won't be cramming everything. So a team is very important with anything you do, really. So not just a Fashion Week, but any business, just even if it's not an internal team, as long as it's someone that you can lean on as a support system, make sure you have that around you.
Okay, and then to wrap up, who are some designers that you look up to in the field?
Honestly, I want to say Ralph Lauren. Even though I don't wear him as much anymore, but that's the person that made me want to design clothes, and that's the person that made me take me dressing myself seriously. Because when I started dressing myself seriously, there was a lot of Ralph Lauren, and plus my parents used to dress me in a lot of Ralph Lauren. So I definitely give a lot of credit to Ralph Lauren. And now I want to say my friends. I can shout them out. Dio's, his his brand Instagram is Visionary Society. Who else? Another one of my friend that has something coming out, Dixon. Another one of my friend, John. He got a brand called John Atelier that's out right now. He's coming out with a new collection very soon. And my other friends that just like dressing as well. Oh, and another, let me not forget him, because if he hear this, he would get mad. My friend Jay, he has a brand that he's working on called Pacavelli. He definitely inspires me. Like, we feed off each other a lot. So those are the people that I want to say inspire me as designers, more so than the big name designs that everyone like fanboy over.
I feel like I got you with that whole fanboy thing. You're like, I'm gonna start. Okay.
No.
Is there any questions that I didn't ask or anything that you want to say before we end the interview for today?
No, but it was fun though. I don't even want this to end.
Yay. Yay. We could definitely come back and do another one once Style on Time comes out.
All right, perfect.
Okay. And then I know you kind of mentioned some of them before, but what are your social handles for anyone that wants to connect with you?
My personal is Upscale Dave, but it's boring on there, so no one has to follow that one. And my brand page, Houses Hite Soleil, Houses HAUSCITESOLEIL. Relaunch coming very soon, no date, but upcoming weeks. And the Style on Time is styleontime.app. So you guys can follow that.
Perfect. And I'll have all of that information in the show notes below. But I do want to thank you so much, Dave, because we literally had some hurdles to get this going. But I appreciate you for being patient with me. I am excited to see your next project come out. Like I said, I went on your website to go buy a shirt and then I saw it was going. And I'm just like, wait, what? So I am really looking forward to it. Like I said, I really do thank you again for taking the time to do this interview. And I can't wait for our next one.
Definitely, I'm excited. I had a lot of fun. Thank you for having me.
Of course.
Can't wait until the next episode to get your cup filled. Follow us on our social media platforms at Pour Into My Cup on Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, and Pinterest. Make sure you subscribe to the podcast to stay updated when new episodes are released. Leave a review and pour into someone else's cup by sharing the podcast. And I have to ask, is your cup half empty or half full? Peace, love, happiness. Brashiba, signing off.